Good afternoon, viewers. I hope you are in good shape. Thank you for joining me again on Health Pavilion. Today on Health Pavilion, we'll be discussing addiction. I know many people have some things in their mind about addiction, but today we are going to find out what really addiction is. And I'm happy to have with me again in the studio Reverend Father Anthony Efriye Amponsa. Father is a music therapist, he's a psychologist, and also a counseling psychologist. Father, you are welcome again on Health Pavilion.
Thank you.
I love your shirt.
Yes.
Lent with Jesus.
Yes. I guess you want to know. It's a concept.
Oh, okay.
We bring people on social media to learn the Catholic faith by praying, fasting, and giving alms. And normally it's just for Lenten season.
Okay, so after the Lent, that is all you end.
We end it. So it's seasonal.
So Lent with Jesus, yes. 2019. So Father, what is an addiction?
An addiction is an attachment to and dependence on. So an attachment to and a dependent on a condition, a thought pattern, a behavior, or a substance for which you cannot detach or do without. That's it.
Simple like that.
Simple as that.
When they mention somebody is addicted to something, the only thing that comes to mind is drugs.
Okay.
So are there other things that a person can be addicted to?
So if you listen to the definition I gave, substance is just one. And even in substance, we have drugs and we have other non-pharmacological attachment to substance. So it could be food. It could be anything. You understand? So when it comes to addiction, it's not just about drug. Even if it comes to the substance, it can be anything. If it comes to behavior, it could be any particular lifestyle that you cannot do without. And if it comes to thought pattern, it could be a particular way of thinking that you cannot do without. Okay, so it's not just about drugs or narcotics, no.
Okay. So can you please give us an example of some of the behavior pattern that a person be addicted to?
Yeah, we have, for instance, the common ones that are coming up now is addiction to pornography, to sex, and to masturbation. It is a very serious form of addiction that is rising up in our generation. Another addiction is the lottery as in Lotto. Yes, what we call Lotto in Ghana, lottery. And now it has been Christianized, it has been baptized, and people call it soccer bet. People call it raffle, and so many Christian names you have given to them, but they are all addictions to lottery. And another side to that is coming up these days, some thinking patterns, and but those ones are not really pleasurable, and we call them addictions. However, so the main things are the behavior side, which we have the lottery, we have sex, and all this, the derivatives of sex, and we have substance. And when it comes to substance, we have narcotics, we have other foods and beverages that people take, and these could result in addiction.
So what causes this addiction in an individual?
Okay, so maybe if I put it this way, our viewers will understand. The brain has its own mechanism, okay, and there is a portion of the brain that constantly secretes something we call dopamine. And the dopamine is secreted into the brain system to give you pleasure, okay? And it goes through a particular, routine. I'm not going to be too technical, okay, but it goes through a particular routine, a particular channel, a particular process to secrete the dopamine to make you feel pleasure. Once you bypass that and give it a shortcut, okay, it floods the dopamine into your system, and it will mimic, or it will make it look like you are having pleasure, which may not be normal. And so, for instance, you take, say, some narcotics, you take cocaine, or you take weed, or marijuana, or you take any of these substances, then it will bypass that system, that channel, and it forces the brain to see it as a normal channel, and it will flood the whole system of the brain, that portion of the brain, and you will feel the dopamine effect, and you think that you are enjoying pleasure. Okay, so long as that shortcut has been told, then the brain will stop producing it naturally, because then it doesn't really see that there's a problem, because it sees that you are having the pleasure. So it becomes overly produced. And so the brain will now naturally cease the production of the dopamine into your system. We call it a neurotransmitter. It will seize it. And once it is seized, it means that then you will need the shortcut always to create that same effect for you. Okay, so for instance, you take the narcotic drug, it creates a shortcut, so the natural cause is seized. And so you have to constantly use the shortcut to get the same effect. So the moment you stop taking the medication, or the drug or the substance, then the brain also has stopped producing for a long time. So it becomes redundant. And all of a sudden you feel restless, you are not happy, you feel depressed.
Is that the withdrawal syndrome?
Yes. We have not gotten there though, but that is where the addiction starts. Okay. So you can't stop it, because the moment you stop, you feel so empty. So it's the same thing for lottery.
Okay.
You know, once lottery is, so let me put it this way, it gives you pleasure, a shortcut pleasure. So if you go and stake lotto, or you bet and you win something small, it gives you a sudden pleasure inside of you. Okay, so then the shortcut has been created. So you need that same shortcut always to keep you happy. The moment you stop, you feel restless, you feel empty, you have to do it again. The same with, say, pornography. You know, everybody has a way of having a sexual pleasure, you know, just a handshake or something. They are all sexual. Okay, but hugging, yes. So you just jump into pornography, and it gives you that sense of belongingness and that sense of shortcut pleasure into pornography, sometimes with masturbation and everything. It gives you that pleasure. So the moment you watched it today and you got the pleasure, you watch it tomorrow, you got the pleasure, and then the brain will stop producing dopamine for you. So if you stop it, then you no longer get pleasure. You feel so empty, and now the body will begin to yearn for it, and you have to go for it. Meanwhile, you don't want to do it. Okay, so you know very well that it is harming you. You are not happy, you want to stop, but you stop, then there's a problem. That is where that's the mechanism of addiction.
But the person knows that it will cause a harm to himself. What about the people around him? Will the addiction also cause any effect on them as well?
Normally, the majority of the situations or events is a person that has the effect the more. It has little effect on the society directly, but it doesn't have any effect on society or the people around, but indirectly, it has effect on the people around. So for instance, I'm taking narcotics, okay, and it gets me so high. Directly it is to me, but indirectly I feel so high that just slapping somebody may make me feel that I'm just tapping you. Okay, so the society will begin to feel it. Or I pick a gun and I'm shooting people and I'm so happy. You know, for me, that's a direct one. But society is having the indirect effect of the addiction. Or people are staking lotto, or they are going on betting and they can't stop. They can't stop. Then it creates laziness in society, because the pleasure of naturally working to get a reward is no longer there. And so now we don't have productivity and everything is low. Okay, or having masturbation and masturbating and also watching pornography. So then it gets to some time, your wife or your husband will not enjoy you again, and so then society will begin to have an effect. Or imagine somebody who is not married, and is so much into pornography and masturbation, I don't feel for any woman again. So what's the big deal? So now the institution of marriage that is supposed to safeguard society is no longer there. What I want to say is that there is no direct effect on society, but the indirect effect on society is even sometimes worse off than the direct one on the individual.
Father, about this addiction, a person who is quiet will take in alcohol, then become outspoken and is good. Is it, I want to put it, we have a positive addiction and a negative addiction. That's my question.
Okay, so you see, that is a shortcut I'm talking about. You see, for instance, all addictions are separate and they are different.
Okay.
So if you are talking about addiction, and the question you just asked, say alcohol, alcohol is a compressed or a processed form of sugars, and there is a brain barrier inside the brain. There's a mechanism that doesn't allow substance into the brain itself. Once you take alcohol, it bypasses all these things and it goes directly into your brain and you feel very high. Okay, so you may be able to talk out and say all that you want to say, but the truth is, immediately it drops. Then you come to the reality, and because it has entered your brain, you begin to feel drowsy, you begin to feel unstable and everything. So the physical effect is there. And now, because it has gotten so much energy, you got pleasure out of it, you want to stop, but you can't.
Then another time you do it again, yes, so that you can speak
Exactly.
in public or do whatever you want to do.
Exactly. But let's put this caveat there. The process with which it moves from one-time event to an addiction is sometimes we call something tolerance. And the brain grows that tolerance. And that is where addiction really, really starts. Okay. So for instance, I take half a glass of alcohol to get me sober. And I'm so happy because I'm now sober. I'm able to sleep. You keep taking the half glass of alcohol, it gets to a point, the body and the brain will get adjusted to it. We call it tolerance. And so you don't really feel the same effect when you take the half glass. And you may have to take 3/4 just to make sure that you get the same effect of the half glass. So gradually it moves into the next level and the next level again. Then it gets to a point you realize that it is harming you. You want to stop it, but because you are addicted to it and the brain has created a shortcut to getting pleasure, it no longer produces your dopamine, natural dopamine that gives you the pleasure. And because of that, you have to depend on whatever it is you are doing or taking in just to get the same pleasure. And that's where the problem starts.
It's getting interesting, but we need to go for a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. If you are tuning in now, you are watching Health Pavilion and we are discussing addiction. And I have with me in the studio Reverend Father Anthony Efriye Amponsa. Father is a music therapist, he's a psychologist, clinical psychologist, and also a counseling psychologist. Father, how can a person know he or she is addicted?
Well, there are some checklists that you would want to know. The first thing is, I want to stop, but I cannot stop. That's the first checklist. I want to stop. I cannot stop. Checklist. 2, is harming me. I am aware that it is harming me, but I still want to do it anyway. Check. So, for instance, you know that the substance you are taking or the sex that you are so hyperactive on it, or the lottery or the staking of lottery or betting that you are doing is having a very big toll on even your pocket or your body or your attitude or your relationship or something, yet you still want to do it, then you know you are addicted. Is it also altering your sense of orientation and belongingness in society? So, for instance, in your little society in your home, if, for instance, you are addicted to betting and or to masturbation or to alcohol or
Even to
to
phone. Some people are
yes,
addicted to phone.
you'll get there.
Okay.
You get there. So you want to, you know very well that that behavior you are taking or that substance that you are taking in is having a toll on your relationship. So, for instance, if it's about masturbation and pornography, your wife is complaining that you are no longer helping, or your husband is complaining you are no longer helping. You know that it is affecting your social life or your physical life, yet you still want to do it anyway. If that happens, then it's an addiction. Okay, so these are the two main things that we want to know. Whether you want to stop, not the three main things I should say. So I want to stop, I can't stop. I know that it's having an effect on me, yet I want to do it anyway. Is it also affecting your social life and your general upbringing and your integration in society, yet you still want to do it? And the last one is, you know that it is going to end your life, and still you want to do it. Then you know that you are addicted. It's as basic as that.
Okay. So how do we help these people?
The first thing is your awareness. Okay. You may have to be aware of yourself and know that this is where I've gotten to. This is a point I am in. The main thing I would want to say is never think that we have to let our viewers know that we should never think that um, we are just useless and that we enjoy doing it. Most addicts want to stop, but they can't stop. So we shouldn't blame them because the pathway of pleasure has been altered. So it is not that they enjoy doing it. They want to stop, but they can't. So when that happens, all that you may have to do is to resort to professional help. If it is substance addiction, what we do is when you come, you come to the center or you come to our clinics or to any general hospital, you'll be referred to a mental health expert. We can help you with some therapy for you to come out of it. Or sometimes there are other substances that can equally mimic what you are taking. Okay, so when we give you such medications, so for instance, those who are, say, taking alcohol or marijuana or something, we can give you some medications that will make it look like you have taken that one, but will not have that same effect. So with time, the natural pathway will gradually be repaired. Professional support is very important because we call something withdrawal syndrome. Okay, remember that the brain itself has its own natural means of creating pleasure, and so once that has been cut and you also try to cut the artificial way of getting pleasure, the body itself will yearn for it, and so you may want to stop and you backfire. And so once you try to stop, you are going to experience all these, syndrome and these symptoms. And so if you are with a professional, the professional knows those steps and will keep encouraging you, expect this to come, expect this to come. Once you're able to cross that threshold, you are almost back to normal.
Okay. So, Father, what are the signs, symptoms, and effects of addiction on an individual and the family?
Well, this is already embedded in the definition itself and the checklist. Okay, so one, you would want to know its effect on you physically, morally, society, how is it, interfering with your quality of life? Once you know that, then these are the signs you are looking for. So, for instance, you realize that physically you are growing weak because of, say, masturbation. I know somebody who masturbate to the point that the left hand is no longer working well. Okay.
Does it mean he uses the left hand often?
It could be. Somebody masturbates to the point that there are bruises in the person's private part, and you know that it is getting cancerous, it's getting sore, but you still want to do it. So that itself tells you you are addicted. There are some people who smoke and their lungs are getting black and they are dying, they are coughing, and you don't want to stop. Or I don't mean to say you don't want to stop, but you can't stop. And you still want to do it anyway. These are signs to let you know that you're addicted. It could also be on the society. You have, some delusions, and it's affecting the way you see things and reason and even, think and all that. Then you know you're addicted. Okay, so the checklists are what we are looking at.
So can addiction be managed?
Sure. Actually, it could, to some point, it can be cured. There are some people who have had addictions and they are now out of it. And that one, all we need is the person's commitment, or if the person is morally or mentally weak to the point that the person cannot manage it, all you have to do is to get a professional. And once we begin to work on it with a little bit of effort, we can get you out of it. But it takes a long time, honestly. You don't have an addiction and within 1 week you have.
Has it ever happened, like 1 week, 2? But some people, they are strong.
Yes, that is the knowledge part of it, and that's the beautiful part of it. There are some people who go and read around it. They know the effect, and they said, today I stop. Even if I get there. So they read, normally those who are able to stop, they have read or they have had knowledge about the withdrawal syndrome. So when it's coming, they are aware. Okay, so they say they have stopped. And so even if the body is yearning for it, they know they have stopped. And so they expect it and they will deal with it. And naturally the brain will repair itself. Okay, so such people are there. But normally those are those ones who have not got to the extreme form of the addiction. But they know they are addicted to a point and they're able to manage it. But to those with the extreme, sometimes it's difficult to do the self treatment.
Okay, we'll go for a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, viewers. If you are tuning in now, you are watching Health Pavilion, and I want to say thank you for also staying with us till now. We are discussing addiction, and I'm with Father Anthony Efriye Amponsa. Father, are there types of addiction?
Well, addictions are addictions, but there are basically two sides: the behavioral, and we have the substance. And as I said earlier, in both we have different types. Yeah, so when it comes to behavioral, we may have lottery, which is all the aspects of lottery, whether betting, gambling, all these are addictions. We could talk about the paraphilic addictions, which is pornography, sex, masturbation, and all those voyagism. There are some people who are addicted to watching naked opposite sex and they get satisfied. Okay. They are also addicted. And now technology too, we have people who are addicted to game playing, social media, and they want to stop. There are people who can't sleep without their phones. I mean, they are all addictions, okay? And they kind of depend on it. And even, you remember, as I said earlier, the reason why even the social media is an addiction is that, you remember I said, you know that it is causing you harm, yet you want to do it. So you find somebody driving around 60 kilometers per hour and it's still WhatsApping. Or you have somebody who is so tired but will wake up in the middle of the night and want to check,
Your messages.
Yes, it. So you know that it's causing you harm and it's causing society harm. You and your wife or your children, you are there and you just don't feel like talking to anybody, but you want to just be on your phone. And you know that it is causing stress on your relationship, but you still can't stop. So it becomes an addiction. So behavior, that's a side. When it comes to substance, it could be narcotic, it could be any other substance, including food. Some people are. I know somebody who got so much addicted to Coca-Cola, and was nearing diabetes, but the person can't stop it.
They want it chilled. I know somebody said, I want it chilled.
Some people are even addicted to frost. They will go into their fridge and scrap and be eating. And so these are the two main types. Okay. But the variations, each person's addiction is different, and we need to know this. Each person's addiction is different. It depends on the duration, the cause, the etiology. Okay, so if you put the severity, the duration, and the etiology, it will make everybody's addiction different. And these three will determine how it is treated. So if we want to jump into treatment, then I can just jump into treatment.
Father, you are allowed.
Okay, so then we see that with the etiology, how it started. So for instance, how did your addiction to pornography or masturbation start? Is it that when you were young, you were forced to watch and it became a norm? It is different from somebody who got a little bit bored and watched pornography for a while and it became an addiction. Okay, so the treatment will be based on how it started. There are some people who are addicted to, say, marijuana, weed, and all those because they grew up in a ghetto. They grew up in an environment that, they grew up into it. Okay. But there are other people too who may start taking these medications because they were so stressed out and a friend said, try it. Those two people are not the same. Okay. So depending on how your addiction started, we use that same, mechanism in helping you to treat it. So if it is, for instance, biological, I know people are addicted to substance of sleep aids. They will take everything that to make them sleep and they get addicted to it. Okay, so we want to know, is it biological that you were giving some medication and now you can't stop it? Or it was, for fun and everything. So all these come in and the dynamics will let us know how to help you out.
Can it also result from how a person is brought up in the family? Because somebody will grow up in the ghetto but will not be addicted to any of this or not resort to any of the substances. But another person will be also in that same situation, but the upbringing, somebody from a different community, like a well-behaved community or well-established community, but still resort to, is it as a matter of the upbringing from the family or is just the person's character?
Well, the character is learned from society. Whether the person is from affluent society or from a ghetto, it depends on what the person is seeing, how the person is trained. So that one is as basic as that. Because the person from an affluent society, what is the person watching? What information is the person getting? How did the person get access to these? So it means that something may have gone wrong and we will need to check. The person could also be brought up in a ghetto, but with a very, very strict parent who help the person out not to get into some of these things. It could also even be individual. Some people start addiction with rebellion. Okay. Yes. So, for instance, you continue suppressing me, I'll go and take alcohol and come and insult you back. So I'm rebelling against you. Then I realized that, oh, okay, it worked. Then I'll keep drinking or I'll keep smoking, and so that I can come and tell you my peace of mind. Then I get addicted to it. So as I said, there are so many causes to it, so many dynamics that go into it. So when you come to our center, for instance, what we do is we have sometimes the very first day, we don't do any treatment. We can use a whole hour or two just talking to you, want to know how it started, so that we help you to reverse it. And if once we know how it started, the severity of it, normally we have 5 levels of severity. We have the normal, so we have somebody who says, okay, well, just about a month, I just take 1 bottle of something, but after the month, I still feel like taking it the next month. It's normal. We have the mild, we have the moderate, we have the severe, we have the extremely severe. So depending on how it started, the level it has reached, how and all, we put all these together, then we help you to now reverse it. Okay, taking cognizance of how your withdrawal syndrome would be and your personality. We put all these together and we help you out.
Are there steps for an individual to follow to prevent being addicted to a substance or a behavior?
Well, I'll tell all our viewers that anything that is pleasurable, let us be very aware. Let us be aware of things that give pleasure. So, is it lottery? Is it gambling? Is it substance? Is it sex? Is it your phone? Whatever it is that gives you pleasure, make sure that you don't overdo it. So this is the basic step. So you realize that, oh, okay, I took a bottle of alcohol, maybe very mild, maybe beer or something, and I realized that, oh, it was good. Then make sure that you don't often abuse what gives you pleasure. Okay. An abuse of what gives you pleasure is what gets you addicted. So you go in for sex, oh, it was good. Before you are aware, you are addicted to it because the brain has something we call the reward system. You do something, it gives you pleasure. Then the brain says, it's good, continue it. And before you are aware, there's a shortcut, as I said. So the basic step to avoiding it is to be very mindful of things that give you pleasure and avoiding them.
Father, what about the family? How can the family help in this situation?
We may have to be very, very vigilant. When it comes to family, sometimes society is creating addiction on its own. Now you pass anywhere and every information is about sex. Why will the youth not get addicted to pornography? And because we are just even showing a car advert. You have a woman naked, just buy it. We are showing some food, maybe some burger or some pie or some ice cream, and it's all about sex. So it's society that is creating it. So we should manage the amount of information we are getting. And unfortunately, these big companies, they want to sell. And so they will do anything to get you to buy. And that is what is causing. We have a society that is mindful, even right from the government down. I would not spare even the government because there are certain things that we allow to, there are policies we could put in place to curb these addictions. And there are societies that who have done so. So that, for instance, how much is a stick of cigarette? Can we get a government that will be so bold to put so much tax on cigarettes that you buy 1 stick of cigarette with your whole salary? You yourself will stop buying it. Okay. But it's there. People are addicted to sugars and salts. Why? Because sugar is so cheap. You can't go to other countries. I won't mention names. You go to other countries, the amount of money you use in buying sugar can buy your whole laptop. And so you naturally want to reduce, your sugar intake. So all these policies can help. Then down to society like churches or mosque or wherever, and our elders in our society, our parents down to the home and brothers, and we could put ourselves in check. And I think we are good to go.
So, Father, can you help us with this? If a viewer out there wants to consult you personally because he or himself in any of the things that you mentioned here, how can you be reached?
Well, for now, I am at the University of Ghana Careers and Counseling Center. anybody who wants to reach us could just contact the number you find on the screen. That is 020 5009. It's as easy as that.
Again.
020 5009. But I'll put it this way: 020 500 or the same number, but the last digits you make it 22. So I should go over it again.
Yes,
so 020 50009 or 020 50022. And we are good to go. Normally, it's a very cozy environment that you want to be. And so we don't allow people to come and queue and everybody will see that, oh, this guy is the addict here. So once you call that number, we give you a date and a time. So once you walk in, nobody sees you. You walk out, nobody sees you. Okay, so we don't jam all of you together. But when it comes to alcohol addiction, every Friday at 5 p.m., we call something the Alcohol Anonymous. It's a group of support team that also meets in University of Ghana, Legon, at the counseling center. And we have a professional helping that team to support themselves and to come out of it. The Catholic Church also at Ashaiman has a center for addicts. And so for those in Accra Archdiocese, the Don Bosco area, they have a center that helps. So for Accra province, they can go there. And for Cape Coast province, Brafoyao, there is the Society for Jesus. I mean, the Jesus Society is also having a center that is helping people with addictions. And so those from Cape Coast province, Central region, Western and all could also access. These are Catholic, facilities and institutions that help. Yes.
Thank you very much, Father, for this wonderful education. God bless you.
Amen.
And I hope to see you again with another educative topic. So viewers, you've heard it all. Try and prevent being addicted to something that will give you pleasure. Prevent it and you'll be safe. So viewers, join me same time next week on Health Pavilion with me, Mary Magdalene Amwako Boaben. Bye-bye.